Good evening, everybody. Uh, Welcome to Founders Friday. My name is Nyeleti Furumele, and I am the founder of #BossGirl. And today we're starting a fantastic new feature called Founders Friday. What is Founders Friday, you may ask? What I have started to do is bring together founders from different backgrounds, different cultures, different ethnicities to come and talk about their journey within their career, to sort of give you the masterclass you'd be paying for, but for free online. Okay? Because I love you and I want you to have the knowledge. I have a good evening from Azasulufi Feminine Hygiene. Please forgive me if I mispronounced the name of your brand. Um, yeah, please just forgive me. It's been a long day for me. So our first founders feature is with Larisa. She is the founder of Levers and Heels, and she's an advocate for women in STEM. You don't know what that is? Don't stress. I got you. So I see Larissa is on the platform. I'm just waiting for her to press the icon to join the live so that we can get this conversation going. Um, yeah, but it's gonna be fun. It's going to be lighthearted. We're gonna expect you to engage with us. Don't let us talk the whole time. Don't be those people. Okay. All right. So she has pressed the button to do. I'm genuinely excited about this conversation. It's been a conversation in the making. Trust me.
Hello.
Hello. Let me just sort out again. Good evening. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me. I managed to put at least one baby to sleep, so I have some free time on my hands right now.
Yes. So I told Larissa because she was telling me earlier that what if the baby comes and whatnot, and I said, I'm okay with that. It shows women and there are other sides of us, and it shouldn't be a thing where we're like, should we hush the baby on the side? No, no, no. We're going to do it. So, as promised, if the baby wants to come and join the live, I most definitely will not say no. We will join together. All of us. Okay. So maybe because I know you, because I spoke to you and did a bit of research on you, so I know who you are. So for those who are joining the live and those who are going to catch later on, maybe tell us a bit about who you are and why you're here.
Okay. Once again, thanks for having me. I am so glad we finally got into the weekend. It's been a long week, so I'm looking forward to getting some rest. But thank you everyone for joining in. My name is Larisa Akrofie, and I'm the founder of Levers and Heels. It's a platform I created to bring visibility to African women in STEM. And I started this because of my own background in STEM. So I actually pursued a degree in biomedical engineering at the University of Ghana. And while I was there, I was one of just four female students in a class of about 40. I always tell this story, and it was pretty intimidating. And to make it worse, we had very few role models to look up to. So when I talk about role models, I'm talking about lecturers. And so we didn't really get the support that we needed in terms of visualizing what it's like to be a woman in STEM. So, in an attempt to motivate myself, to inspire myself, I decided to figure out what other women in this space were up to. And so I started interviewing other Ghanaian women in engineering and technology, just to, get a sense of what it's like to be a woman in STEM. And so I started it as a blog, and I started sharing their stories, and I realized that it started gaining some traction. And so I decided to expand and start interviewing other African women in STEM. And that's really how it started. For me, it's really about visibility, bringing visibility to these women, so that we can inspire young girls who want to go on to pursue STEM. So that's me in a nutshell.
So I'm gonna pause because now we are talking about why you started it. How did you personally get interested within the STEM industry? What was your story?
I think for me, I was really inspired by my dad because my dad was an engineer. And I always say that I've been blessed to have a dad who really encourages his daughters to pursue the hard things. So he really pushed us to pursue our interests in first science. For me, my interest was in mathematics. Mathematics was my favorite subject in junior high school, secondary high school, and so I knew that engineering was the path that I wanted to be on. And so he saw that interest, and he really encouraged us to pursue that path. I know a lot of
Mm.
young girls don't have that. In fact, it's almost the opposite. A lot of families rather encourage their female children to pursue arts because they feel it's more flexible and easy. And so that's the situation that we are trying to change.
So, okay, I don't know what is happening. Okay, my internet just did something real quick. That's why I had to pause. Um, let me just sort it out real quickly. What is happening?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. Ah, there we go. So it was trying to connect to something else at the same time.
Okay.
That's why. Shoo, technology showing me flames
Yeah,
at the end of.
it happens. It happens. No worries.
Okay, I've sorted that out. So now you're talking about your love for mathematics and your dad who had supported you during your pursuit towards a career in bio. You said it,
Biomedical engineering.
engineering. Where was that shift for you to say, okay, this is no longer just a love for mathematics, it's now truly me on my own wanting to do this, in spite of the fact that my dad is part of my journey?
Okay. So to be honest with you, I just knew that I was interested in mathematics. And at the time, I didn't really know what it was that I wanted to, really pursue. I just knew that I was good at mathematics, and so engineering was the thing for me. And I think a lot of young people, struggle with that at that certain stage, at that point in their lives. And so for me, I always tell young people that they should try to explore what they are passionate about. And then once they identify that they should be intentional about building their skill sets around that. It really helps to get you on your feet and to help you determine what it is you're to do at that stage. But for me, I mean, at that stage, I just knew that I was interested in mathematics, and I was going to pursue engineering because I saw my dad as an engineer, and he really inspired me.
Wow, okay. So now you've done your degree, you've interviewed these amazing women, and they've sort of given you a glimpse into what the future might look like. Walk us through your first job. What were some of the first assumptions you had going into your first job versus what the reality was?
It's been a long, long journey. So I completed university, and I think that was the time that I started Levers in Heels. So at the time I mean, everyone was trying to figure out what to do, in terms of looking for jobs and all of that. And so I became a teaching assistant. So while I was doing that, I was also working on Levers in Heels. Then an opportunity came up at this accelerator program that I used to join, and that's actually where I met my husband. Um, so I joined in just to learn about entrepreneurship, and I at the time too I also had an interest for coding, building websites. I was learning while teaching, and the founder of the accelerator program noticed that interest in me. And so he gave me the opportunity to join the program as a program analyst to support their startups in terms of building web applications for them. So that was really my first career in terms of like joining, the tech world, and it was really exciting. I think that really opened my eyes to what the possibilities were in terms of what I could do with Levers in Heels. So that was the time that I really expanded across Africa. I was doing a lot of programming, interviewing African women in STEM, doing a lot of mentorship uh, programs, initiatives, and an opportunity came up. I won't mention the organization, but it was quite similar to what I was doing with Levers in Heels in terms of the role. And so I remember going for the interview, and it was such a smooth process. I knew that this was like the perfect role for me, and the next day I got a call that I'd landed the job, and so that was really exciting. I was there as a project coordinator to develop and organize a girls' camp for 300 young girls studying science in Ghana. So that really fell in line with what I was doing with Levers in Heels. And then I think I advanced in terms of, learning on the ground, what it's like being a project coordinator. And then I moved up the ladder to become a project manager, uh, started supporting social entrepreneurs. And then right now I'm in the project. I find myself in the project management world, working on really exciting fields to support young people. But I always say that um, it doesn't matter what you studied in school. A lot of people will tell you that, oh, you studied engineer. Why are you not, why don't you have an engineering
Yes.
job? But I always tell people that whatever I learned in school, I am applying at my job every single day. It doesn't matter if you pursued what medicine, and the next time you have a job and at the bank or in yeah, there will definitely be something that you could apply from what you learned in school.
Mhm. So, I mean, I guess maybe the next question would be you now moving into the space and you're learning, you're growing, obviously not necessarily in the traditional sense. What were some of the biggest lessons you learned in pivoting in this specific direction?
Wow, that's a good question. I think I had so many learning curves while in university and in my career path. But I think I also mentioned earlier that one of the things that I always advise young people to do is to try to explore what they are good at in terms of skills and just build them up. I wish I had that advice even before I entered the university. I think it would have gone a long way to really help me, focus on certain areas that I was really good at. And so that's something that I always advise young people to do.
Okay. Because I think also the misunderstanding of you've got an engineering degree, therefore you must work in an engineering field. How important is it to firstly understand the dynamics of your chosen career field and also researching what else can be done that's not the norm?
So I will answer this question this way. While before I graduated, I knew that I was interested in prosthetic design. It was an area of biomedical engineering that I really took interest to. But unfortunately, at the time, there was nothing like prosthetic design in terms of jobs. I literally couldn't find anything to do. In fact, I roamed the whole of Accra, trying to see if there were any opportunities. I remember I visited the Ghana Health Service, and they had at the time this department dedicated to prosthetic design, but they called it the extinct department because there weren't any engineers working there. It were just old technicians, and yeah, it was quite sad to see it. It really discouraged me. But for young people, I would advise that you do your research on what the opportunities are while you're in school, so that you don't just get out and you're surprised by, the reality on the ground. Do your research while you
Yeah.
are in school. That goes a long way to help.
What role do you think mentorship played in shaping your perspective of what the possibilities are out there?
Mentorship really, really helped. Like I said, we had very few role models to look up to in terms of, female engineers and lecturers. Um, while I was in school, the only lecturer was Dr. Elsie Ifa Kaufman, who was the head of the biomedical engineering department at the time. So she's the quiz mistress of our national math and science quiz in Ghana. And I would say Dr. Kaufman has been so instrumental in helping me in my career journey. Just, seeing that it's possible to become a female engineer, you're seeing her and you're seeing all the possibilities was really inspiring to me. Um, and another thing is visibility. I always talk about this in relation to the work that I'm doing with Levels in Heels. If you can't see what it's like to be what you want to be, it will be very difficult to be that person. And so it's really important that we throw more light on, role models, especially female models as it pertains to women in STEM, so that young people can visualize what it's like and get a sense of what it's like to be a woman in STEM.
Mm. So is that what eventually Leavers and Heels is going to be? Not necessarily a place just to profile amazing women in STEM, but also to say, hey, I'm opening the door, come through. Let me hold your hand.
So for me, I always say that I have committed myself to giving a voice to African women in STEM because I really, really believe in the power of visibility. There are so many African women in STEM. Some of them just haven't been unearthed yet. Um, and it's really important to throw more light on the work that they are doing because we need more of those role models to inspire young girls to pursue these fields. Another thing that I want to do with Levels in Heels is to really encourage all actors in the space. And when I say actors, I'm talking about families, guardians, teachers, because to engage girls in STEM, you need to engage all of these actors to understand why girls are underrepresented in STEM and why we are trying to encourage them in these fields. I was on a panel yesterday and I shared a scenario, as an experience that I'd had at work, being on a panel interviewing girls who were applying for STEM scholarships. And some of them told me that their teachers discouraged them from pursuing STEM, telling them that, look, science is difficult, and why don't you just pursue arts and move on with your life, go and find someone to marry and start a family and leave the STEM for the boys. That's the hard stuff. We need to start changing these narratives. Yes, it's true. STEM is difficult, but so I believe every other field is as difficult, But there are women who are doing remarkable things in the fields that they are regarding STEM. And so we really need to encourage that if that's what girls are interested in doing, we need to encourage that. And another thing is to build their confidence level. You realize that boys have more confidence in STEM fields than the girls because already, their families are discouraging them from pursuing this. So that can really affect their confidence level. So this is one area that I want to work on with levels in heels.
So I can tell you're passionate about it because it's that's one of my passions. When I started this, it was to give a platform to other women who wouldn't necessarily have had the platform. What are some of the initiatives that you and Livers and Heels and maybe other big brands in Ghana doing to sort of bridge the gap between how many females we have now versus how many we need to have 10 years from now?
Okay, at first, I want to say that I'm really glad by what is happening, and I can only speak to Ghana because that's where I'm based. But from where I was back in university and looking at where I am right now, seeing what progress we've made in terms of the organizations and initiatives that sprang up to support girls in these fields, it's really amazing. A lot is being done in this space. With regards to initiatives that Levels in Heels will be working on or has already started working on, we are really, like I said, trying to bring visibility to women in STEM and using them as role models for young girls, especially at the secondary education level, because that's really where, or even before girls join the secondary level, because that's really the stage where they are starting to make their decisions as to whether they want to, move into science or arts related courses. So we want to give them the opportunity to visualize what it's like to be a woman in STEM. So if it's something that interests you, you go on to pursue that. So we've had several partnerships. We are currently working with the Institute of Teacher and Education Development in Ghana to organize a STEM career awareness program. With some of the women that I've interviewed on Levels in Heels, we are getting them to share their experiences with girls in public senior high schools. And it's really been amazing. They ask a lot of questions. You can really tell that the curiosity level is there. They have a lot to ask. We need to work on their confidence level, like I mentioned. But there's still so much to be done, especially with regards to policy making, when it even comes to transitions to work. I'd say that even at the work setting, it's still very challenging for women in STEM because a lot of the policies within the workplace do not favor women. As women, we have to. Some of us have to start families. If you want to start a family, you have to start a family. And once you do that, you really can't give your 100% at work. So, what are the policies that are being implemented in the work setting to support women like these? Whereas men in these fields, like they just have a smooth transition, and the policies are even being made by them. So how can
Yeah.
we change, that in the work setting?
Mm. So I'm glad you spoke about policy changes because now I'm looking at we've been through a global pandemic, and for 2 years, I'm assuming, I'm going to just speak specifically to South Africa. I don't know how it was in Ghana, but a lot of schooling stopped. And I remember the report that came out early this year. One of the ministers in education said there are so many number of girl children and boy children who will never come back because of the pandemic. And I feel like now my question is, how much damage has the pandemic done to the progress that was being made? And how long do you foresee the changes coming back, or at least coming back to a level where it was pre-pandemic times?
So it's interesting that you asked this question because just yesterday I was reading a report by UNICEF on the exact same thing in Ghana. So when the pandemic started, as you know, the school shut down, and as a result of that,
Mm,
school children they couldn't go to school, and it really had an impact on not just school children but girls especially. Um,
yes.
there was an increase in abuse and teenage pregnancy. And now
Mm,
that things have eased up a bit, it's been very difficult getting girls back to school. And so these are some of the results of the pandemic on education. And it's for me, it's really important that we involve all actors, like I mentioned before, families, teachers, to encourage girls to have improved education and improved opportunity, equal opportunities as boys do in education. And so it really had an impact on our education, not just STEM education, but education in general. But we are hoping that things get better with time.
so I mean, let's paint a picture. If you could change the policies today, um, and they say, we're giving you one day, let's change the policies, what are the first three things that you would implement that are of urgent need now?
Three things. Okay. So one of the things that's very dear to my heart is strengthened teacher training. And I
Mm,
think not just Ghana, but in every society, there have to be policies that look to strengthen teacher training and encourage
mm,
women to pursue teaching profession or education if it's something that they are interested in. By doing that, you are giving girls role models. You know, it's easy to relate to a female teacher than a male teacher. Some of them feel shy of their male teachers. You know, so it's one of the things that I would look to do to strengthen teacher training as it pertains to STEM education, and really providing, or let me just say improving our knowledge pipeline. And what I mean by that is I'd like to see a lot of educational institutions being connected to the hubs that we have out here, tech hubs, and trying to encourage students to be entrepreneurial, because there are so
mm,
many bright young people out there who have great ideas, innovations, but they are just cautionary tales. Like nothing is being done about their ideas or innovations after school. And so we need to really encourage them and invest in their ideas and innovations, and even apply some of the maybe scientific research outcomes that they have in industry, connecting our education institutions to industry and create jobs for young people. So that's the second thing that I would do. The third thing is I think I'm very passionate about getting more girls into STEM, and just helping them to build their confidence. So if there could be like a legislative framework to really encourage, I would be intentional about encouraging and increasing the participation of girls in STEM. That would be really great. And also, I also mentioned the work setting. There have to be policies in
mm,
the work setting to support women, especially in STEM fields. Maybe when they go on
yeah.
maternity leave and they come back, what support are they really being given? For me, I remember when I went on maternity leave the first time and how hard that was on me. I was away for about 6 months, and
Wow.
it was such a depressing time for me because I'd gotten back to work and a lot had changed. And yeah, I can only imagine what other women have been going through, in their work setting. So there have to be policies that really go a long way to support them.
So, I mean, you've mentioned, this is just a sidebar, but I felt that we need to touch on it a bit. You mentioned the fact that you're a wife and a mother, and obviously you can't do, I'm assuming, late nights every day, pushing projects, all those things. How was your conversation with your employer to say, hey, I mean, I need you to understand my priority is my family. How did you get, I mean, like, I just want to know, maybe for someone who's watching, to be able to say, like, maybe this is what I need to try out. How did you have that conversation with your employer to say, look, I love my job, but I've got a family. How can we come together?
Yeah. I think it really just starts with you being honest with yourself. I'm the kind of person who hides my emotions. I'm very good at hiding my emotions, especially when I'm dealing with, difficult situations. And so I've had to learn how to speak out when it comes to me being uncomfortable with a certain situation. And so I think that has really helped me. Knowing what I'm going through at the moment with my kids, I can't give 100% like I used to. It's impossible. I can't do everything. And I think every working environment should understand that and should have systems in place to support women going through this phase in their lives. And so for me, I've been lucky enough to have really great managers who understand and they work with me to, make sure that I have the time that I need to get work done and then also be flexible enough to get some rest and see to my kids. Um, I, everyone at this stage doesn't have any sleep at night. So you can imagine
True.
how much that takes a toll on me and work. So I've been really lucky to have managers who understand that. And I think it's the duty of every organization to have policies that support women in this phase of their lives.
Okay, so future founders, it is your duty to make your environment or organization inclusive for everyone. It's
Exactly.
not his job. Okay. Because I thought that's important because I feel a lot of women these days are having to have difficult conversations. Do I want kids? Do I want marriage? Do I want a career? Because society has told us you can't have them.
Yeah.
You have to pick one. And if you don't pick the other, then you're lacking. So it's like you never win.
Yeah.
And yet for guys to have a wife, children, a thriving business, nobody questions that.
Yeah.
And that's sad.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you. This is a conversation that I had with one of my colleagues. I used to, at the early stages with my first son, I used to really doubt myself when it came to work because I couldn't give my all, and it really pained me that I couldn't give my all, and I couldn't, contribute to work as much as I had wanted to, like my colleagues were doing. And so I used to fear and think that they would think that, oh, maybe I'm not capable enough, or because I'm not contributing enough, I'm not smart enough. I had all these thoughts. But you'll be surprised, you just really need to talk to them, talk to your managers, and you'll be surprised to know that they understand what you're going through. Don't let your mind, take over yourself because negative thoughts are powerful, you know. So I think for me, one of the things that really helped me was speaking out if when I was uncomfortable in a situation.
Yeah. Hey, speak out, ladies. Okay. You've talked the future of motherhood in Africa in STEM. Let's talk what is your vision for women in STEM in Africa, not just Ghana. I know that's where you're based, but let's speak continentally now. What is the bigger vision?
The bigger vision, in an ideal world, I would like to see a lot more girls and women being confident enough to bring their own tables to, the
Yes.
STEM fields. And I'd like to see a lot more women making decisions up there. I'd like to see them even working on policy making to affect them and their children and their children's children. And overall, I just want us to all work together to, build up Africa and find solutions to our problems, because it's not just about, men or women. It's a collaborative effort. And so I just really want um, all the actors involved to understand the work that we are doing in terms of trying to increase participation of women in STEM, so that we can all work together to improve the situations in Africa. And sorry for the background noise. My son just woke up.
No, that's okay. I did say, should the situation happen, we'll go with
Yeah.
it. See, Twala. Yes, I will save this live, and just in case, I'll try and also save it on YouTube. But yes, I will definitely save this live because she did say some amazing things. And you've got a baby in the background. How much more fantastic he will be as a representation of the amazing things women can do on this continent. Okay, so let's talk future plans for Livers and Heels. If we want to come through as hashtag Boss Girl and um, help out, or you need our platform to speak to other people, what are your plans? How can we help? Where you at?
I think the mission is the same. I just really want to bring more visibility to African women in STEM, and to explore more opportunities for these women and for girls as well. And so, I mean, there's only so much we can do. And so it'll be really great to have, partners on board. If you are interested in partnering with us, supporting the movement, you can always send me an email, info@leversinheels.com. I think I'll just type it in the chat, just so anyone at all can access me.
No, don't stress. I will put it up
Okay.
on
Oops, I'm really
wherever
struggling trying to put it on. Okay. So info at
the
leversinheels.com.
.com.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I got you.
Thanks.
So as we close, I think we've spoken about some real what's the word? I'm gonna go deep because I can't find the word for it. What are some of the things you would like to share here that maybe people don't know? What are some of your let's give a highlight reel into your career, your passion, and your vision to everyone who's watching.
Yeah, I think for me, I've really been blessed with some of the people that I've worked with in my career path and journey. Um, I know that there've been certain managers who've been very intentional about developing my growth, and I like that because I also tend to do that for young people who would also want to, pursue what the kind of work that I'm in. And so there's a quote that says, "We rise by lifting others," and I really, really believe in that a lot. And so shout out to all the managers who've been there to support me through this journey. And then lastly, I think I'll just try to encourage girls to be very confident, and not in any situation that they are in. Ask a lot of questions. If you're not sure about anything, please ask. You'll be surprised the support that you can get by just asking a question.
Thank you. I feel like it's important for me to say that we had initially scheduled this conversation about 6 months ago, if I'm not mistaken, and then
Yeah,
like
before
life
before before I
happened.
gave birth.
Yeah, like then life happened, and then there was like a bit of a glitch, and I had to, because I remember when I emailed you again to say, okay, you know what, I think I'm ready to have this conversation. I was not necessarily in the right place mentally, and what I see you doing with me, because you said look, it's okay, I got you. And I thought to myself, who is this? What do you mean? I'm sweating because I'm panicking, like, oh my word, I left her hanging. And she's like, oh no, it's okay. So I can testify that we are not just, we don't preach kindness, you live kindness. And I think that's so important when we open or when we do things to remember to not just be kind to our families, but that kind of kindness that you have, I think that's DNA. You can't you can't fake that. And I think it's important for me to say that for anyone who's going to join you on this journey, who's watched this platform, I'm testifying. She, and I mean, like, who brings a baby to life and does it so confident? So there's just so much. So,
Yeah. Thank you so
I want to
much.
say thank you. Yes, no, thank you for coming on. Thank you for your baby for allowing us a little bit of time before making a feature. I do appreciate. So please tell him as well that I appreciate just a little bit to at least get the crux of the conversation out. So I'm gonna let you leave so that you can do big me things, and then I'll close and we'll do the tags and all of that. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you so much
Thank you so
for
much for
making
having
time.
me. I really enjoyed the conversation and I look forward to the others.
We'll absolutely. No one I promise on the line, but we'll in the pipeline.
Great, great.
I do promise.
So he's
Thank you.
calling me right now, so I have to go.
No, no, just leave it.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. Thank you. I see a lot of familiar faces. Thank you for joining in to support. So yeah, looking forward to the next.
Absolutely excited. Okay, I think there's a cross button or something that you can click to log off on your side.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. Bye. Thank you so much for joining our first Founders Friday feature. I'm hoping you enjoyed it as much as I did, and I'm hoping you taking notes or you going to take notes. This is something I want to bring to you continuously. I want to make knowledge more accessible for you. I don't want you to struggle to build your brand or your business. I don't want you to not know who to reach out to in order to find information to help you build your career or your business or whatever it may be, even if it's just your confidence. So, Founders Friday feature, the aim is to have it every last Friday of the month. So, God willing, I can keep my promise. But thank you for everyone who joined. Thank you for everyone who's going to watch. Thank you for everyone who's going to share it. Let's not hold or hoard the knowledge to ourselves. Let's share it with everybody. We all need a little bit of help. Let us be that helping hand. I am your host with the mostest. Ooh, I should actually learn to say that a bit better. But anyways, I'm Nyele Tufurumele, and I am the founder of hashtag Boss Girl. And my vision is to create a platform where every woman comes to find inspiration, courage, encouragement, all of it, because this world is tough. Thank you for joining us this Friday. Our next Founders Friday feature will be on the 18th. You don't want to miss that one. If you thought this one was amazing, that one will also be just twice as amazing. Okay, good night. Have a fantastic Friday. You survived the week. Just do you. Good night.